Man, what a gutty baseball win on a gloomy College Station afternoon. You know, it's a non-con midweek kind of a game. It's a game you might look past when you're looking at the schedule, and you probably, you do. You look past a Prairie View game or any kind of non-con game in the middle of the week when you're in the middle of your SEC slate. And I wonder if that's a tempting feeling for the team as well. Coming off of your first SEC series, it's on the road, you come up short, you built yourself up the whole season before that, and that was your first downfall of the year. Easy to come out on a Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock a little hungover, right? And they did. It was a slow start, bad pitching. We saw them shuffle pitchers quite a few times. Falling behind early in the game. And dudes found a way to grit out a win late in the game. I think it was a 5-run 8th inning for the Ags to put it away. Big plays by Ali Camarillo, who kind of struggled offensively early in this year. Been really good defensively, but he came up huge this game. Grahovich, Appel, of course, Lavalette, just an absolute beast. But maybe the best storyline coming out of this game is the closing pitcher, Isaac Morton, who was able to put the game away. Maybe something to watch going into SEC play. But easy to look past a game like this, and when the season's done, you might not look back at a game like this. But it would have been very easy to pack it up and just call this one in. Or to not have the grit to grind a game like this out, a game that's maybe not as important. But they did. And they're maturing, and they're getting better and better. And what I've been saying about this team, or what I said last video about this team, is maybe if you lose a couple games, you shouldn't be too worried. You maybe shouldn't panic, because this is a damn good baseball team. They're going to find themselves into some sort of postseason position. They just got to keep improving. And I think they did today. It was an ugly game. Very scary, very, very gross. Just a bad feeling game. I was watching it on my drive home from work and at the gym. I wasn't paying super close attention to it, but I know it felt bad. It felt bad for the first 7 innings or so of that game. Just when you thought you were going to take it over, they would come back, take a lead. But we're good. Got the win. Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for being here. It's going to be a shorter show tonight. I have to pick up some from the airport tonight. So what I did was I submitted a post on Twitter for questions, because we're doing a Q&A show tonight, a mailbag show tonight. And at the end of the show, I'm going to build my NCAA tournament bracket in front of you guys. I haven't done it yet. I'm in a group where we're building brackets, whatever. You guys are doing it too. And I'm going to do it live for you guys. And we're going to see what I come up with. I might have A&M winning it all. I might go a little Stephen A. Smith on you guys. We'll have to see what happens. But thank you guys for being here. Let's say what's up to everybody in the chat. And if you guys could throw a like onto this live stream, that would help me greatly. Antiag in here. Good to see you, Antiag. Ronnie Barker out of Tokyo checking in. Good to see you. By the way, guys, I did receive a bunch of questions on X, but if you guys want to ask any questions to me in the chat here, feel free. I'm sure we'll have time to answer it. Right now I have about 7 or 8 questions submitted, so we definitely have time for a couple more. If you guys have any baseball, basketball, non-sport related questions, I have a food-related question tonight because I had a very, very bad experience at a very popular restaurant to a lot of people today, and I feel like it must be talked about on this show today, and it will be. So whatever questions you have. Tyler Eubanks, glad to see you made it. Good to see you, man. Ted, what a comeback for the baseball team. What a comeback indeed, man. A gritty win, a good win, despite the opponent in the middle of the week. It feels good to get that one under the belt. John Peroni, good to see you as usual. Jeb, yes, mailbag show. I'm running out of ideas, Jeb. I had to throw something out there. No, it sounded fun. It sounded fun. I see y'all guys watch Snaps. Snaps is a pretty good show I've been enjoying in the offseason. They do a mailbag show. Josh Pate does a mailbag show, and it looks like a lot of fun. So something to get you guys more involved, because I think y'all probably have better ideas than I do when it comes to things to talk about. So I'm putting it in y'all's hands, and I'll feed off of whatever y'all have to say. I almost forgot Prairie View is just down the road, right? Appel is the clutchiest. Absolutely, man. That whole team was clutchy today. It was great. We have enough hitters to make comebacks. That's absolutely right. And in talking about this team, what me and others have said was, you're always in games with this kind of offense, with this many hitters, with this many ball players. Pitching hasn't been perfect, but you did find some good late-game pitching. I'm blanking on names. I'm always terrible with names. Isaac Morton. Keep that name in mind. That might be the closer for the future. Philip says, good to see you, Philip, by the way. I was disappointed in the last Florida game. How do you throw a gopher ball on an 0-2 count in the 8th inning? Unexplainable. Oh, well. I know. It was a rough weekend, but it was a rough weekend against the Gators, going 1-3 against them. No calls tonight, Rangers King. I am having to get out of here within probably an hour 15 or so. I got to get to the airport to pick someone up because there's some Clemson lawsuit stuff. Yeah, Clemson is suing the ACC. Maybe I'll get you on at the end if I have time, Max. We'll see. Thoughts on Clemson's ACC lawsuit stuff? Yeah, I'm trying to make sense of it. It seems like Clemson and Florida State are trying to put pressure on the ACC. I don't know if they're able to get out of the grant of rights. It doesn't seem like they're able to. I don't know. We probably need to get Max on. Maybe he can tell us what's going to happen there. Jeb likes the mailbag. The stream's always entertaining to me. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that, Jeb. Jeb, I need you to give me a good question tonight, Jeb. I'm counting on you, man. I'm counting on you. Okay, before I get into the Q&A, I do want to talk about at least one thing, and that is that the SEC released its conference opponents for 2025. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys. Of course, I didn't. I'm a professional, and I didn't pull it up. So let me see if I can get this up for you guys. But, of course, A&M has a pretty bad draw in 2025. SEC not expanding the schedule to the 9-game conference schedule. They're keeping it at 8. And A&M is actually playing the exact same teams that they're playing in 2024. In 2025. So if you can see down here, A&M plays Auburn, Florida, Mississippi State, and South Carolina at home. That's your conference home slate on the year. And then at Arkansas, or Jerry World probably. Actually, I don't know in 2025. It hasn't been renewed, so it might actually be at Arkansas. At LSU, at Missouri, and at Texas. So a couple thoughts. It sucks that they haven't expanded to 9. I don't know why they haven't. 9 makes a lot more sense with the 3 protected rivalries and then the 6 games rotating every year where you get to play every team every 2 years. Now, if they did that, I don't know if it would rotate like this where you go home and home against the same teams in back-to-back years, or if there were a 9-game SEC slate, you would be able to play a different team, a different set of teams every year. I don't know if that actually changes with the 9-9 or with the 9-team SEC slate. Regardless, I think this schedule sucks, guys. It sucks for the home slate. Unless Auburn turns it around, and they're on track to maybe be pretty damn good in 2025, that could be an interesting home game for A&M, especially if it's later in the year and Auburn can pick up some steam. Who knows where Florida's going to be? Most think there's a really good chance that Billy Napier could get fired at the end of this year. If that's the case, Florida's probably in rebuild mode. If for some reason he hasn't gotten fired, Florida probably had a damn surprising and good 2024. I don't know if that'll be the case. I don't know if that's a huge home game. Regardless, we're playing Florida like in everything every year. Is that a protected rivalry now? We played them the COVID year. I think we played them an extra year. In addition to that, in A&M's first 10 years in the SEC, I think we played them like 5 times now. It's crazy. We play Florida all the time. We haven't seen Georgia at home anyway. Mississippi State at home. I don't know where they're going to be by then. South Carolina at home. I don't know where they're going to be. Major rivalry game. Yeah. So tough road stretch here, obviously. At Arkansas, especially if it's at Arkansas, no matter where Arkansas is, they're going to fill the stadium up for A&M. It's going to be a hostile environment. We're going to get their best shot like we do every single year. Even worse if it's in Fayetteville. So at LSU, always tough. Missouri, probably going to be a tough game. They're expanding their stadium too, so who knows what that's like. Maybe an interesting game to travel to. And then first game back at Texas since they're joining the SEC since 2011 or whenever the last time we were there was. Pretty crappy schedule, in my opinion, unless Auburn and Florida and any of these teams are monsters. Maybe you have a fun home game or two. You also play at Notre Dame that year, so another big game on the road. So a pretty tough situation. What do you guys think about the schedule? It's not the greatest. Of course, you're playing the same teams that you do this year, just flipping the home and away. Jeb says, damn, I'm behind. Wasn't Florida State suing the ACC too? Yeah, Florida State and Clemson both suing. Yep, they released the 25. They should stay in the ACC because it's a soft league. The softies should stay soft, absolutely. You like the UTSA and the Utah State for non-con. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad for non-con. I like playing UTSA. I saw Jeff Traylor at the Spurs game last night, fun fact. He was wearing a UTSA cap. And yes, our roster could be better by 2025, Jeb. Absolutely. Definitely a chance that's the case. Okay, guys, let's get into some of the Q&A today. I went to Twitter and I asked you guys to submit some questions for us to explore on the show tonight. So while I'm answering these, if you guys want to add more questions in the chat, go for it. But for now, we have about 8 or so questions that are submitted on X. So let's pull up the first one. This one comes from Texas Platinum, a UT podcast. We've had Matt on the show. You guys remember Matt. Are you pro or anti-SEC expansion? If so, which teams would you like to add? So I don't think the SEC needs to expand. I think SEC has plenty of brand value, plenty of monetary value based on the teams they have. There's not a more stacked conference out there. Even at 16 teams, you feel good. But if you want to get competitive, if the Big Ten starts adding these teams, if the Big Ten adds a Notre Dame or gets a Florida State, and you have a gun to my head, and you have to add teams to the SEC, I'm getting real picky. I'm getting real picky with the ACC teams I'm selecting, and maybe one Big 12 team. So if I were to go with one Big 12 team, I would add Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State is an awesome football program. One of the most underrated football programs in the country. They're top 10 in winning percentage in the 2000s, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's either the last 10 years or the 2000s. One of the two. Really successful football program under Gundy. Obviously, it makes sense with the OU rivalry, the connections playing Texas, the connections playing A&M. I would add Oklahoma State to the conference. That's probably a hot take, not a huge brand, not a huge monetary value move. If you're adding ACC schools, the two at the top, Clemson and FSU, although you have a feeling that the Big Ten is eyeing those to expand their footprint because that's what they've been doing with their expansion so far, I would take either of those teams. This is probably a hot take. I would take Miami as well. I think there's enough brand value there to add a lot to the conference. Adding more of Florida is always good. Adding another city in Florida is good to me. It makes sense. People say North Carolina be a good basketball brand. It'd be a good brand to add. Jordan brand. Maybe North Carolina, but that's kind of like my afterthought. So those are the teams that I would consider adding. It's Oklahoma State, FSU, Clemson, Miami, maybe North Carolina. Maybe. Philip Mixon. The real question is, will A&M move to the Big Ten? Look, if you're going to believe a talk show host in the middle of Oklahoma who has a dialed-in mystery source in Chicago, then hell yeah, I believe it. But unless you're going to listen to people that aren't Jeff Swaim, no, I don't believe it. That would be as if I were dropping these major conference realignment rumors. That would be like if I were to drop Texas is eyeing the Big Ten, or some school that's even less relevant to where I'm out of. I mean, I'm a Texas state-based program. If I were to say OU is eyeing the Big Ten, me, in this room here, no. There's no steam behind it, guys. I explored it because people were talking about it. It was running rampant. I had a video about it. I don't think so. Not going to happen. Although if we were to be realigned, that would be the place you'd want to go. But obviously, don't leave the SEC. We're fine. Next question. Cool Condor asks, is there a specific guy on each side of the ball you think we as fans should be paying more attention to? Interesting question. Who is underrated that we're not paying attention to? I think we all are aware of the trio of receivers. We're all aware of the quarterback. I'm going to go with a running back. I'm going to go with E.J. Smith. I think E.J. Smith cracks the rotation. I've seen enough from him to think that he can compete for running back 3 with Amari Daniels. I think you need a third guy. I don't think A&M has a one guy, hand the ball to him 25, 30 times a game kind of guy as of right now. I think you're going to have 3 or 4 guys get handoffs in a given game. And I think E.J. Smith can overtake Daniels or just be part of the rotation himself. So E.J. Smith, that would be an underrated, underappreciated guy as of right now. I don't know if he's suiting out for spring, but if he is, we're going to see a lot of him in spring. Defensively, this is tough, man. I mean, DeRickey Wright's a popular one. I think people have explored that one, so I'm going to park that. I won't bring that one up. Dalton Brooks is one that I've talked about a lot. I think we're going to see a lot of Dalton Brooks if he's not starting. I think he's definitely in the rotation. Cassius Howell is a really good one, the defensive end out of Bowling Green, who had 10 sacks last year. I think he sees the field a lot. I think he's a guy that will be part of the tools that Mike Elko uses on his third down packages, or even more than that. Maybe he's even a starter or has potential to be up there. Someone who's underappreciated on defense, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, someone who really doesn't get mentioned enough, who I think was this close to being like a breakout guy last year, was Shamar Stewart. I think Shamar Stewart was so close so many times last year to making huge plays. He's so explosive for his size. He's almost disruptive. I know it's weird, but he is so close to being that guy. He's one of those man-child freaks who kind of like had a baby face early in his career, who's super athletic and just huge. He's just like a weird specimen to watch. I think he takes that next step next year, and he's a guy that's been on the team for a couple years now, part of that huge 22 class, one of the 5 stars that actually stuck around. I think Shamar Stewart, underrated, underappreciated. Let's go with Shamar Stewart and EJ Smith. Those are my 2 guys. Awesome. Good question, Cool Condor. And I don't know if you guys see his profile picture there. Don't zoom in on that. Texas Hill Country. Regarding the spring transfer portal, what positions do you predict we lose players in outside of Jacoby and McCall? And what positions do you think we attack in the portal? Out of Dripping Springs, Texas. Thanks, Texas Hill Country, for submitting that. Defensively, we've talked about Jared Kerr a lot as a candidate on this channel. Now, let's be clear about something. When I talk about these candidates to transfer out, it is purely based on roster makeup. I don't talk to these guys. I don't hear rumblings from these guys directly. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know how much they love A&M. I don't know how bought in everybody is. I don't know that. This is purely based on what we've seen before and the talent we think we have coming and how guys are going to develop. So, Caden Proctor, if you guys haven't paid attention, he's a guy that just transferred from Alabama to Iowa, where he's from. Huge NIL deal. Made bank. Cashed it out. And before he even puts a jersey on, he's transferring back to Alabama. I mentioned a couple times in this show previously that I had a feeling that was going to happen. And I thought guys that just transferred to A&M after spring, not before spring like Proctor, which was weird, but after spring, once people saw how the depth chart shook out, once people saw where they were in like the ranks or the hierarchy of talent on the team, I thought people would probably transfer out that just transferred in. But it's hard to predict that. So if I'm going to go with guys that I know a little bit better than the transfers right now, because a lot of that's still really unknown, I have to throw a Jared Kerr out there just because that area is so crowded now. He's kind of a tweener. He's played nickel. He's played safety. I think we have a lot of guys that can play in those positions. But I also think Jared Kerr is the kind of guy that could emerge there and become a dude there. Because I actually am in the minority here. I like the flashes I saw of Jared Kerr the last couple of years. I feel like he's a very experienced player now at A&M. But he might feel the same way. He might feel the same way about himself. And if he doesn't get that playing time, which I totally respect, that's the main respect reason I have for guys transferring is playing time as you're aging. I could see him being a guy. Offensively, this sucks, but I could see a running back transfer because the room's crowded. I could see an Amari Daniels. I don't know what's going on with Le'Veon Moss. As far as we know, Le'Veon Moss is with the team. He's practicing. He's training. We've seen some weird stuff from him on Twitter, but he hasn't skipped a beat. So that was a guy that I had on my watch list for this before, but based on what we're hearing, it sounds pretty positive. So I'll go with a running back, but I don't think it's Ruben. It's either Le'Veon or Amari or an EJ, but EJ just got here. We don't know much about that. I'll go running back, and then I'll go Jared Kerr. But I'm not betting on it. I'm not betting. Again, this is speculation based on talent. But it's going to happen, guys. We're going to have transfers, and it might be someone that we don't expect. So just keep an eye on it. It could be a quarterback. A very good quarterback room at A&M right now. Very crowded. Mr. Dixie Isamoris. Thoughts on Solomon Washington's offensive emergence as a drive and finish guy on our offense and his ability to lock down opponents on defense? So, guys, forgive me. I didn't catch every basketball game this year. I definitely watched them in the tournament, and I've definitely watched probably around 10 games this year. What I see from Solomon Washington is extreme athleticism. And when I watch Solomon Washington play, I wonder if he has the skill set to make it at the next level. Because I know he has the athleticism. His leaping ability is absolutely elite. It's insane to watch him contest shots out of nowhere. This guy flies. He just appears out of nowhere and contests, and now he's finishing at the rim. It's huge because we don't know what happened to Coleman this year. His fall off it's very sad. He's very much been a leader for the school, a very good Aggie, if you will. Obviously, Marble missed the year. I don't know much about that. Can somebody shed light on Marble? I'll get with you guys in the chat in just a section. I'm running away with these questions right now. I think it was desperately needed. I'll just put it that way. I think we really needed a bigger guy, and he's bigger based on his athleticism than his actual size. I think we needed a bigger guy to emerge, and I think it's perfect for A&M. I believe he has more eligibility left. I need to see him come back. I need to see him cook for longer. I need to see him develop some more skill, but his athleticism's off the charts. Really glad to have him, especially with kind of the dip in productivity of Coleman and the absence of Marble. Let's check in on the chat, guys. Tyler Eubanks says, Sankey needs to add FSU and Clemson and see how their rival schools like that. Yeah, they would not like that. Yeah, that would be a power move. Those seems like them and Notre Dame are kind of the big three that are left out there. The absolute, I think they're all power brands. I think they're all legit, as good as it gets out there. If you go for those two, let the Big Ten take Notre Dame, I think it all makes sense. But I have a feeling that the Big Ten's going to try to get into Florida just like they tried to get into Pac-12 country, and they did. So I think the Big Ten's going to make a push there. Just like they're allegedly making a push for A&M. That's not happening. Oh, Jeb, you asked a question, and I answered it already. 5 guys who you think transfer out after spring. Okay, let's just expand on that real quick. I'll give you 5 definitive names. So I already said Moss. I said Daniels. I'm not saying they're going to transfer out. Those are candidates. It's 4 guys that could be productive in the room. Maybe it happens. That would hurt because you need more running backs. So that's 2 there. Let's just say Marcel Reed. Quarterback room is very crowded. He is on the right trajectory where he can come into his like collegiate prime after Connor's gone, maybe after Henderson's gone. I don't know what happens there because Miles O'Neal is really good. So you could see a quarterback transfer, and that wouldn't be too surprising, and it wouldn't kill us. Jared Kerr. I don't think anybody on the D-line is like a prime candidate to transfer right now. Shoot. Let's go with an O-lineman, maybe. Pretty crowded, experienced room there. I don't want to throw a name out there. Maybe an O-lineman. Let's just say an O-lineman. Is that a cop-out? Maybe. Those are 5 guys. Thanks, Jeb. Thanks. Is Moss in spring practice? Look, Billy Lucci said he's training right now, so we'll leave it at that. DeRicky Wright, I think, is our most underrated guy from the portal. Definition of versatile. Absolutely. And I misspoke in my last video. I believe he's actually not suiting out in spring. I think he's finishing up his degree at Vandy before he comes to A&M in the summer. So we won't get a look at him in spring, unfortunately. But that's something I'm looking out for. Yes, DeRicky Wright. Cam Chancellor vibes there. Truffle Shuffle, good to see you, man. Good evening, everybody. Awesome stuff, man. Who's your favorite Aggie, Ted? Who's your favorite Aggie? The Caden Proctor story is crazy. It's insane. But, okay, so you said that I don't think Proctor ever actually transferred. So I don't know who it was. Was it the AD? Somebody associated with Iowa today came out, and he admitted that Proctor took a huge chunk of their, what he said was limited NIL budget. He at least took the money. So I don't know if you have to actually transfer to take the money. Probably not, given the limited rule set we have around the entire sport right now. He did enough to make an impact. He did say also that he didn't become close enough with the team to take a copy of the playbook with him, for whatever that's worth. I really hope Kerr stays. Me too. I've actually said I'm high on Kerr. I said that several times throughout the year. And if he's in the 2 deep, I think that's a really solid 2 deep. Did Kerr put on 25 pounds? Damn. It's impressive. Yeah, Amari's a candidate for sure. Yes, Obaseki is a beast. These guards, man. The guards at A&M are an absolute beast. He needs to limit his 3 attempts. His percent does not warrant all attempts. We need to see him work this offseason, get some more shooting, get some more touch, get some more skill. But he has potential, man. He has potential. I think like this guy has NBA body and athleticism, but it would be a slow burn for him. Anti-Ag asks, do you really want to see A&M lose to Clemson for a 3rd time? They need to stay in the ACC. Okay, let's just be real clear about something. Clemson lost that first game at A&M. That ball was out of bounds, not out of the end zone. You shouldn't have gotten the ball back. A&M is better than Clemson. Moving on. Losing Reed would be an L. Yeah, man, he showed a lot of potential in that bowl game. But it's a crowded quarterback room with a lot of talent. Best this quarterback room has felt in a while, especially all the way down to the bottom with Miles O'Neal and what potential he has. So you have three guys that are somewhat proven. I would say Connor is very proven with 7 starts under his belt. That's a good sample size for college football now. Like, it's a small sample size sport. 7 starts is enough to learn a lot. So, yeah. But losing Reed would suck because we saw a ton of potential from him. Yeah, Aggie was a name that came to mind, but if he hasn't transferred yet, I don't know if he's going to transfer. Trey Jones better than DeRicky Wright. Hey, we'll see, man. I've heard a lot of good things about Trey Jones. I just know that DeRicky is underappreciated at Vandy and he can do a lot of things, but you might be right. All right, guys. Good stuff in the comments. Keep the questions coming if you want. We have a few more questions to get to from X. Playoff Spurhorn. Another Longhorn. What record does Elko have to achieve to be successful in year 1? I love this question. I love questions that put me into the season because I want to be there already. What record does he have to be successful? So I say this every year. There's always like a stomachable record, and then there's like a successful record. I don't think I would be able to stomach a 7-win season again. I think I would be sick. I think I would be very nervous heading forward into this Mike Elko venture. If he had 8 wins, I absolutely would not be satisfied. I would not feel great. But I could accept it in a year 1. We've talked about how much new is going to be on this team, especially on defense, with the coaching message, with the culture. But there's a real good argument that the benefits outweigh the negatives there because of some of the culture stuff we've heard about Jimbo's program in hindsight now. And that's always like shiny object syndrome or recency bias. I'm forgetting the fallacy that is being committed here. But the current thing is always better than the former thing. We always do that. It's why we always say, well, good luck, bye, get out of here to transfers. And like, I want my hardworking 3 stars even more. It's that kind of mentality. But we've heard a lot of bad about Jimbo's culture. The work ethic of Jimbo's guys. The cliques. So maybe A&M is good enough to be a 9 or 10 win team this year. And I think successful would be a 9 or 10 win season. 8 is acceptable. But I don't know if I'm like running and calling that a success. You know what I mean? What do you guys think? I'm saying 9 or 10. 9 and 10 are successful year 1 for Elko. Maroon conquers all. In this next decade, will Aggie football win 2 championships or 3 national championships? I think this is a fun question. You're having fun with me here. I mean, if you're ever betting on your team to win 3 championships in a decade, you're either Nick Saban, Alabama, or you're delusional. It's fun to be a delusional sometimes. Look, I don't know about next decade. I know I'm going to see A&M national championships in my lifetime. There is too much going for this university. There is too much going for this football program, financially, facilities-wise, fan base-wise, student body buy-in and size-wise, the atmosphere of Kyle Field. You have every tool here. I think every other program that has the tools that A&M has is either contending, has won recently, or has won in the not-so-distant past. So this question, I mean, I'm not going to take it that seriously. I don't think we're going to win 2 in the next 10 years. Maybe 3. I know I'm going to see a championship before too long. I know I am. Okay, here we go. Maybe I'll get into the chat before I get into the question. I'm going to get fired up with this question. Man, I try to forget about the 2018 game versus Clemson. Look, when I watch the highlights to that game, I watch it with pride because we won that game. We're better than that team. We were a 9-win regular season team that year. The receiver from La Tech is really fast. Oh my gosh, names are escaping me. Yeah. He was a 1,000-yard receiver last year, I believe. He's really underrated, underappreciated. I think he's going to be a mainstay on this team. He might not start, but he's going to play in games. The La Tech receiver is a big deal. He's very important to this team. 9 wins, says John Peroni, is a successful year. Yeah, I think you're right, John. I could stomach 8. Truffle Shuffle says 9 as well. Absolutely. So does Jeb. It's 9. It's 9 before the bowl. Yep, I'm with you guys. Look, I think we would all not be I don't think we would be that concerned with 8. Of course, if we saw weird stuff about the team, like if we saw consistent downfalls that were like glaring holes in the team, like last year, A&M just couldn't get over the hump, losing close game after close game, weird coaching decisions, like going into half unaggressively. If we see weird patterns like that at 8, we'll feel bad. But if we see a hard-fighting team that just comes up short at 8, I think we'll be okay, but not success. 9 is the number. I'm with you guys. Jimbo's culture was bad at FSU. I thought it'd be different at A&M. Look, don't even bring it up, Jeb. Don't bring up how excited we were. I'll be happy with one daddy in the next 10 years. I'll be happy with one in the next 20, man. We got so much going with the other sports. Oh my gosh, guys, I forgot to bring it up. Thanks for reminding me, Truffle Shuffle. I'm one too. We're all 2024 cricket national champions. Texas A&M is the 2024 national champion in American collegiate cricket. Give it up for the cricket team. Didn't know we had one. And this might be fake, and I might be getting faked out right now, but I read it on Twitter. Honestly, I need to look this up. Philip Mixon says, honestly, Connor is the key to the season. Absolutely. Is my voice too loud? I'm seeing like I'm maxing out the voice bars here. Connor is absolutely the key to the season. The statement I made, if you guys watch this show throughout the offseason, you're going to hear me repeat myself, but we have new viewers every show, so you have to bear with me. What I've been saying is we need Connor to reach his potential to be like that 10-win playoff contender team that we think this team is actually capable of. We don't know if we're going to hit that, but if it's going to hit its ceiling, Connor needs to be a borderline Heisman contender. He doesn't have to win the Heisman, but he needs to be in that conversation. He needs to be a top 10 guy. We know he absolutely has the tools to be that guy. He needs to come back healthy. He needs to be himself. He needs help from the O-line. He needs good receiver play, but he helps everything. If we can sit back at the end of the year and say, Connor hit his potential this year, I think A&M's a 10-win team. I think he's that good, and there's enough around him on offense. I might be more confident in the personnel of this offense going into next year than the defense. But I might be just as confident in that defensive coaching as I am offensively. That doesn't make sense, but it makes sense to me. I hope they just get at least one in our lifetime. Jeb, we're getting multiple in our lifetime. Let's be real here. There's too much going on. What position groups do you think A&M needs to attack in the spring portal for depth? Okay, absolutely running back. I think you need I think the word that Ted used was thumper. You need a thumper running back. You need like an H-back, a guy that can play fullback, a guy that Colin Klein likes to use. We need that position. So I think a true running back and a thumper. I think you could probably do with another tight end, another defensive tackle, another receiver. It's a good 5 right there. It's a good 5. 10 wins gets us in the playoffs. It absolutely does, Truffle Shuffle. I think it absolutely does. I think 10 SEC wins gets you in the playoffs, especially with A&M's schedule this year. I mean, if you're winning 10 games, you're beating multiple of Texas, LSU, Missouri, Notre Dame, Auburn, who I think is better than a 500 team this year, Arkansas, probably not good, but a rivalry game. You're losing to only 2 of those. So you've got good wins, and you've won road games. You've done good. You've done well on your year with 10 wins. You're in the playoff. We need to add gymnastics to women's sports. I could see it. We have a cricket team. Apparently, it's a thing. Cricket and meat judging. We're elite. Auburn and Bama both have equestrian and still have one more women's sports than us. We can get more women's sports. Great O-line play will equal to Connor's success. Right. And the thing I say about Connor is you don't need perfect O-line play because he can figure things out with short time. Quick release, quick reader. But great O-line play takes Connor to that absolute next level. A&M is 3 deep at every position. I don't know if you're 3 deep at all 3 receiver spots, but you have a good rotation at receiver. I don't know if you're 3 deep at D tackle. You're definitely 3 deep in the secondary if your transfer guys pan out. I think you're 3 deep you're definitely 3 deep at defensive end. You're 3 deep at linebacker, I think, with quality guys at this point. I mean, unproven for the most part, but quality. I think you are at O-line. At least you can move guys around enough to make yourself 3 deep. Running back, absolutely. Quarterback, absolutely. Pretty damn close, Philip. Pretty damn close. Yeah, just need depth at DT. Okay, should we get into it? I guess we're going to have to get into it. What's your favorite place to eat at College Station? All right, so let me answer this question first before I get into my issue today. So I have like a three-headed monster at College Station. This might be a hot take. I don't know. You guys have to tell me. 3 favorite places. In no order. Imperial Sushi. Have you been there? Have you not? Great sushi. Great hot food too. All kinds of Asian food, more so than just Japanese. It's good. Taz Indian food. Amazing lunch buffet. You end your day there because you smell really bad afterwards because you eat a lot of curry. But if you're going to end your day, not go out in public, you have morning classes, you go home and study the rest of the day, perfect. Perfect. So Taz Indian Cuisine, I think is what it's called. And then Los Cucos, man. Great margarita, great fajita, great queso. Those are my 3 favorite food items. So Imperial Sushi. Oh my God, I'm blinking. Taz and Los Cucos. I really like Fuego, but I didn't go to Fuego that much when I was at College Station because the line was always insane, and I'm usually not wanting to do that. So Fuego would be there. I go to Fuego now in San Antonio. So today, another place that's popular in College Station is Torchy's. I've never tried Torchy's. I've heard great things about Torchy's tacos. Everybody tells me, try Torchy's, try Torchy's. It's really good. You like Fuego, you like Torchy's. Okay. Finally tried it today. Got it for lunch. I usually eat pretty healthy during the week. I got chicken fajita, and they have like a Baja shrimp taco with like shrimp and coleslaw and like chipotle mayo. Really good stuff that I usually get. Guys, it missed. Torchy's was terrible, man. It was terrible. I was shocked by how bad it was, guys. Why didn't anybody tell me Torchy's fell off? So first of all, the tortillas fell apart. They were undercooked and soft. The Torchy's corn taco on the shrimp taco, that didn't stand a chance to my hands and my grip. It just fell apart in my hands. The shrimp was pretty good. I'll give it up for the shrimp. But the slaw and the onions, just very dry and minuscule and not very crunchy and just disappointing. The sauce was not very flavorful or robust. Bad taco. Overall, shrimp was okay. The chicken fajita taco was absolutely terrible, guys. It was terrible. The chicken was like cut into those really small chunks, super greasy. They used a ton of oil with it. They overdid the peppers and the onions. I considered saying no peppers, no onions. Just way too much, man. Just too much going on in that chicken fajita taco. The tortilla was like a soggy mess, man. It was like liquid. It was just like you could just mush it apart between your fingers and it would just like dough up and crumble so bad. Very disappointed in Torchy's, and I took to Twitter, talked about it. Very much a split decision here. Very, very split. Half of you guys love Torchy's. Half of you agree with me. And then like a very small portion of you are like, that's not even Mexican food. Okay, I get it. I'm in San Antonio. After this live show, I'm picking my brother up from the airport. I'm getting street tacos from a taco truck. And that's real food. That's the good stuff. I'm going to wash out that Torchy's taste with some real street food. I get it. These tacos are not like legit Mexican cuisine, but they're a category of their own, and I enjoy them. I didn't enjoy Torchy's. I freaking love Fuego, man. There's a Fuego in San Antonio. No line. Open 24/6 is like their motto, right? Go all the time, man. It's so good. The meat is just big and juicy and robust and flavorful and cooked to perfection. Great tortillas. The queso's top notch. Great variety. Great salad. I even get the salad there sometimes. Love Fuego. Torchy's, doo-doo. Moving on. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Jeb says, Fuego is still my favorite spot in SeaTac. It would be up there. I've never had food at Chimney's. Only Mark's. My favorite place in Bryan College Station is Lane's. Lane's is really good. I love Lane's. Lane's is like the experience. I actually think that Cane's is like 1% better than Lane's, but the experience of going to Cane's in College Station takes it to the next level, and I think Lane's is better. Freebirds. Okay, have I said this on the show before? I don't know Truffle Shuffle. This is a confession. It's a confession. When I was in College Station, I would go to Freebirds 3 times a week. 3 times. Love Freebirds. I was really into the gym, and you get a lot of protein at Freebirds. I'd get a burrito. Easy on the rice, easy on the beans, double me up on the protein. Side of queso. I know, not the healthiest, but I would portion out for the day and make sure that was something I could fit into my calories for the day. 3 times a week. I would always go to the one at the very end of University, getting close to Highway 6. I'm forgetting the roads at this point. I'm several years removed now. I think it's the one at the end of University where you're at Highway 6. I think that's right. That's when I would go to. And it got to a point where they were recognizing me. And I don't think I can't have that at a restaurant. You can't recognize me at like a fast food restaurant. I mean, it's cool, it's nice, but they were starting to criticize me for my order. I would get the queso, and the lady, she finally told me, there are a lot of calories in that queso, right? And I was just like, you serious? You know what I told her? I go, make it 2. She laughed. I got 2, but I didn't eat the second one. I just did it to make the point. So 3 times a week, I adjusted. I would go to a different Freebirds every time I would go, 3 times a week. So they would only see me once a week at this point. So I would go to the one I was talking about. I would go to the one, I think it's on Texas. Yeah, it's on Texas by that Target. I think I'm right. I'd go to that one. And then I'd walk from school to the one on Northgate. 3 times a week, different Freebirds every time. Life was good. Great answer. That was I think Freebirds was my most visited restaurant in my time in College Station. I would say a close second was probably Chick-fil-A. And then third, unfortunately, as a poor college student, Taco Cabana. Just terrible. I can't believe I did that to myself. Are there any Taco Cabana stands out there? I hope not. Jeb, you love Imperial? Yes. I'm so glad someone loves Imperial. That psychs me up. Okay, good. Yeah, Torchy's is a bit overrated. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try it when I'm not being, like, somewhat healthy. I always try to get the cleaner tacos during the week. On the weekend, I have more fun, whatever. Or, like, dinner. I don't want to have, like, a heavy-ass queso-filled taco in the middle of the day. So I need to go back and, like, try the barbacoa stuff, the carnitas stuff, like, the pork stuff. Well, people rave about it. I need to try their queso. I'll try it again. I'm not a try it once and give up on it guy. And I also heard the location matters. Fuego has the best tortillas. Yes, they do. Their tortillas are so good. With the queso in it, my goodness. The fried avocado, my goodness. I've never been to Duncan Dining Hall. I only went to Sabisa like once or twice. I would eat out way too much. That's where all my money went. Ever go to the Block? I've never been to the Block. Tell me about the Block. I'm interested. If I can go to it, I will. Food trucks cost an arm and a leg, but damn, the food is good. Look, man, I got to tell you about my food truck. I'm happy to shout them out. Dos Hermanos, here in San Antonio, San Pedro, close to North Star Mall. These guys are from Mexico. They travel to Mexico like every few weeks to like recoup ingredients and spirit and love to put into the tacos. These guys recognize you after years. We were going in high school. Every time you go now, hello, my friend. They recognize you. At least they make you feel like they do. Tacos are unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. I'll post a picture of them on my Twitter tonight. So if you're not following me, it's the same name as my YouTube, Drew Tamu. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. The Fuego in Waco is never packed. I love it. Exactly. Neither is the one here. It's kind of far from me now in San Antonio, but we go probably every other week. Oh, the memories of Duncan holding silverware between my knees and never getting to eat. You live in Wisconsin, so I miss all the food there. Man, yeah. Whenever I leave Texas for more than a week, I miss the food here too. Taco Cabana, man, rough times. I used to call into a local restaurant that recognized your voice and they knew my order. Feels weird, right? It's not terrible. I just prefer not to have it happen. Anywho. Okay, guys, I think that's it for the Q&A portion of the show tonight. So I told you guys it's going to be a quick show. The last thing I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to make my bracket. Keep in mind, I know not much. About college basketball. Big NBA guy. San Antonio Spurs, man. I grew up with Tim Duncan. Of course, I'm an NBA guy. I'm not a big college basketball guy. So let's see how this goes. Let me see. This is a new screen. We don't use that often. Oh, I'm gone. There I am. All right, let's fill this screen up nice and good so we can get a nice, good image of things going on here. Bear with me. I'm a professional. There we go. Boom. We're making a fresh bracket, guys. We're making a fresh bracket here. Should I do a Shannon Sharp and just pick 1 seeds? Let's go through this quickly because I really don't know that much about basketball, but might as well put some effort into it, right? All right, I got to go UConn here. I don't think Stetson Bennett really has pro potential. I think he had a lot of heart at Georgia, and he was better than expected, but I just don't see Stetson upsetting UConn in round 1. My brother goes to Northwestern. We're picking him up from... Am I divulging too much information? I'm picking him up from the airport tonight, so I have to go Northwestern in round 1. That's an interesting round 2. UAB, San Diego State. Auburn, Yale. I'm going Auburn here. I think Auburn's a pretty damn good basketball team. I think BYU wins this. I think Illinois wins this. Drake was in San Antonio last week. Yeah, Drake, he had 2 concerts in San Antonio. And Iowa State's good. That's good for A&M. I think Houston beats Longwood. And I honestly think A&M beats Nebraska this week. Nebraska has that really good shooter. I think A&M shuts them down. And I think A&M plays Houston in round 2. And that's going to be such a fun game, man. I think Wisconsin beats James Madison. I think Duke beats Vermont. Look, I think NC State upsets Texas Tech. I know that's going to be hard for a lot of you to hear. But it's truly what I believe. Kentucky, look, man. I love bourbon. Look, this school doesn't even have a logo. Oh, it's because this game needs to happen still. All right. Florida. I want to rematch them, so I'm just going to see how far I can take them. This is obviously Marquette. All right. Going through round 2. Let's see what you guys have to say so far. Oh, the block. Okay, food truck park with big TVs and a bar. I would go to that. That sounds great. I know SA has the best margs, but the Houston Rodeo margs are the runner-up. Ooh, that sounds good. I just feel college basketball has way too many teams to come up with. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I do think Northwestern upsets UConn, though. Mark my words, that happens. Mark my words. You'll see. I have Auburn going pretty far. I think Illinois wins this. I think Iowa State wins this. I think Drake, yeah, not good enough. All right, guys, I'm going to save this one for last. Wisconsin-Duke's going to be a fun one. Yeah, I think Wisconsin wins it. I'm still rolling with bourbon, and I think Florida plays Kentucky. We're getting a lot of SEC teams pretty far, especially if A&M beats Houston. Yeah, A&M does it. A&M makes it to the Elite Eight. It's truly what I believe. Northwestern and Auburn is a game that I'm going to have a lot of trouble picking. I just think Northwestern is that guy. But I do think Auburn's just too much for them. I think Auburn's a good basketball team. And I really think Iowa State's a pretty good football team too. Finally, this is a tough one for me. Because I really like Bourbon. I actually really like their point guard. I forget his name. I wouldn't be mad if the Spurs drafted their point guard. But I really want to beat Florida. I think Florida beats Kentucky, guys. And I think A&M beats Wisconsin. We're in the Final Four. I'm going Stephen A. Smith with you guys. I'm going Stephen A. Smith here. Man. We're getting double rematch in the Final Four. How do I pick my champion? It's a rematch in the championship, guys. It's a rematch. You guys know who I'm picking, right? I don't think A&M can do it. I think Iowa State's the best team in the country, but I think A&M has enough juice in the canister. And I think A&M wins the whole damn thing, guys. We're winning the championship, baby. A&M, we're going bowling. We win it. Oh, am I missing a bunch of teams here? Do I have to do this again? Is this the Final Four down here? Oh, no, I don't want to do all this. Okay. North Carolina, these are the same school but different colors. I don't know what. Michigan State's not that good. Mississippi State, they got hot at the right time. I'm sorry if I'm making a mockery of this. I just truly don't know that much about basketball. Max asked me to do a women's bracket. If I did a women's bracket, it'd be worse than this, guys. I don't know anything about women's. I could do it. St. Mary's. Bama loses in the first round. Clemson's winning. Baylor's winning. I have Dayton going pretty far in this thing. Arizona's winning there. Purdue, TCU. I think McNeese upsets Gonzaga. You might not believe it, but it's going to happen. Kansas winning here. Got South Kakalaka. Look, man. Just a kid from Ohio. I think, yeah, Tennessee's winning that. Although I think Tennessee's horribly overrated. I think Rick Barnes hates A&M. I think that's all he cares about. He hates coming to play A&M, guys. He hates it. I can't believe I thought this was the whole thing. This is obviously too small. God dang it. Oh, well, it's live on YouTube. What can you do? Yeah, North Carolina's beating them. St. Mary's winning here. I got Clemson upsetting Baylor. Any Clemson fans in the chat? Anti-Ag, thanks for pointing it out. I missed an entire side of the bracket. I realized this. Look, Dayton's going far in this thing, guys. Dayton's going far. I have friends out of Dayton, okay? That's why they're going far. I think Tennessee's overrated, but I think they're good enough to get this far. I think Akron is making it to, where am I? Is this a Sweet 16? Akron's going here. Kansas fine. I think Purdue makes it. I think Tennessee beats Akron, guys. I think Akron's on a run, but I do think Tennessee's good enough to beat Akron. I think Dayton's going far, guys. Dayton's going pretty dang far. North Carolina and Kansas. What if this is it? What if I'm predicting it? What if I get it? Yeah. Dayton's going far, guys. Dayton's going far. All right, do I actually have my Final Four set? Okay. The Final Four is set. Ooh, Kansas is tough. Kansas is tough. I know a lot about Kansas. Dayton. Dayton versus A&M in the championship game. Ooh, I don't know, man. Dayton has destiny on their side. I really feel something with Dayton this year. I really feel something with Dayton. Man, I'm biased. I feel bad that I've gotten this far based on analytics and pure evaluation, only to let my bias get in the way of a legitimate pick for the championship game. Oh, man. Look, if I'm being objective here, A&M's going to win it all. Look at that. Dude, look at that. Champions. Us. Just like cricket. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. I know it was a short show, but I do have to get to the airport very soon. Guys, we'll be back next week with a normal call-in show. Thanks for bearing with me on this weird format. I actually really enjoyed this show. The Q&A was really fun, and I plan on doing that every now and then. Maybe I'll add that as a second show during the game week, during the regular season. Maybe we'll do more shows a week going forward, because this was a great show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see you guys in the next live show, which will be at Thursday again next week. We'll go back to normal time. I'm going out of town tomorrow evening, so I won't be able to do the show tomorrow. Really thank you guys for being here. It's been fun. A&M's winning the whole damn thing. Thanks, and gig 'em.